Alrighty. Hey y'all, it's Winter Walden, and usually right after I say my name, I say with Real Brokerage, and I'm usually walking through a house, or if you've seen me or you know me, I'm usually doing something pretty silly right after that. But you have officially clicked on the first episode of Winter Wonders, my brand spanking new podcast, and you are on episode 1, which is Winter is Coming, and yes, I know, it is the absolute title or the main saying from like Game of Thrones. First of all, I just want to do like a 2-second. So to give you a background, I have extreme ADHD. If you cannot handle that, please, I don't know, you could just like skip forward or like literally turn the sound all the way down so I still get the view or the listen, you know what I'm saying? If you want to support me, you ain't gotta listen to this. Anyways, but long story short, I will probably be bouncing back and forth. So like Game of Thrones, which is really, really crazy. When it was popular and all that, I remember all the jokes. Everyone was like, oh my goodness, you're married to like Jon Snow, you're that one wildling, all of that, blah, 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 blah. I get it all the time. And like in high school, I want to know part of it. I've never been, I don't know, and it's nothing against Game of Thrones. I'm just not like a knight. Like that time era isn't something that makes my brain go thumpy thump. So like I usually get pretty distracted and I'm not engaged. But out of nowhere, Kaylee was like, hey dude, you got to check this out. Like it's an amazing show, all this other stuff. So as a school teacher, like we had the summers off. We binge watched it and I'm telling you, I was hook, line, sinker. Don't get me wrong. There's still some weird parts. Like the brother-sisterly thing? No. Ugh. But, like, that's okay. I pushed through that. Jon Snow was a pretty cool dude, so I really enjoyed him. But anywho, Game of Thrones, Winter is Coming. This is my new podcast, Winter Wonders, and I hope to be every bit of the momentum of Winter is Coming without the inevitable, like, doom of, like, I don't know, winter coming in like Game of Thrones was really, really bad. And I want this to be like not that, you know, like I want you to be like, oh, hey, I get to listen to Winter, maybe. Or if you're the person turning the mic, you know, anywho. So for other people who might be tuning in that might not know me or have not seen me from real estate, hi guys, my name's Winter. Long story short, I am a cool 27-year-old from Texas that within the last 2 years of my life has recently moved to Idaho. Started basically like kind of rewrote my entire life, had a quarter-life crisis. We'll get that's a whole like probably 4.5 episodes of itself. But basically how I got here was I used to be a school teacher. Being able to move around the country was really easy when it comes to school teaching. So got a job up here, worked for about a year, and inevitably fell into the world of real estate, and somehow, some way, the world allows access to almost anybody who wants to start a podcast. So like, don't blame me, blame the world. But here I am, and long story short, so how to listen to this podcast, where to listen to it. My ultimate game plan is I hope to be on all podcast subscriptions kind of across the board. So definitely Spotify, Apple Music. You can also watch all of these videos on YouTube. That's kind of where you get to see the crazy distractions. And hopefully, I want to have, like, more. I just want this to be able to kind of grow into whatever it is. But I do want to give you the background. I am going with this. I'm a very minimalist person. I like having really, really low expectations because the best thing about starting at rock bottom, the only place to go is up. So if my 2.5 listeners, so hopefully Nick and hopefully, like, my sister and, like, Kaylee, like, those... and my dad, honestly, those 4 people, thank you so much for tuning in. But yeah, I hope this honestly becomes more. So I'm keeping it as a hobby. It's just 10-15 minutes on an every weekly basis. So I will be dropping this on every Wednesday, just like real estate on winter walkthroughs, which if you haven't seen that, highly recommend either TikTok, Instagram, winter.realestate. You got to go see those videos. Every week is a switch up. It's awesome. I'm not trying to give myself a whole lot of credit, but or at least maybe y'all are like, wow, this girl's crazy, but I enjoy them so very much. It's honestly one of my favorite parts of the week that I look forward to. So go to definitely those different like social media accounts, and I'd love to see those views go up. But anywho, back to the main point. So every single Wednesday, not only will I be dropping Winter Walkthrough Wednesday, but we'll drop a new podcast episode of Winter Wonders every Wednesday as well. That's kind of my game plan. Cool. So you know a little bit about me. You know a little bit about where and when to see the podcast. Now, what is the podcast going to be about? So what's the point of you listening? What's the point of you even clicking the next episode? Or heck, what's the point of you getting more than like 2 minutes after what I'm about to say? I told you at the very beginning of this, I'm ADHD, so every episode is probably going to be something different. I already have the first 15 kind of lined out, and I don't think any of them have to do with you, like, and I don't know. I'm just wait, just stay tuned, right? But the main categories that I'm wanting to hitting, there's definitely going to be real estate in there. I truly want to use this as a source that some of my clients and some of my students who are kind of getting to that point of getting older in the world and want to learn how to buy a house, or the home buying process, or honestly what those scary big words mean adult-wise. I want this to be a place where you feel comfortable and you feel like you can learn without being judged, or being at the point where you don't feel like you're adult enough just because you don't understand how one of the biggest purchases you'll ever have in your life, like if you don't have cash down, 30 plus type year agreement, right? It's a big deal. It's a really, really big deal. So not only do I intend to have podcast episodes just about real estate, I also plan to have special guests. So whether it's lenders, title people company, other agents who would like to come on, I do have a couple more lined up that I'm going to kind of keep on the down low because they deserve their own glory and thunder later on, but I have a lot to offer y'all. I'm super excited. Secondly, Idaho is crazy. First of all, if you think Idaho is just potatoes, you are wrong. Actually, you are right. I literally know a family who grows the majority of the potatoes for McDonald's. But for real though, it's not only is it gorgeous, but the culture here and everything else, from the top that is bordering Canada all the way down, we're talking hot springs, mountains, craters of the moon, a little bit of West Yellowstone, or not West Yellowstone, but Yellowstone in general. It is mind-boggling, right? And I cannot wait to showcase that, whether we're talking about national parks, hikes, just any type of adventures that you could do, hot springs, food, so on and so forth. I'm honestly super excited. That one's gonna be like the, oh no, I have to go spend money and be that girl, right? Sorry, that's what like some of this podcast is going to be, is just me being weird, but welcome to it. Not other than that, so we're going to have special guests. We're going to have the hidden gems of Idaho, which I'm super excited about, some real estate tips, all that great stuff. But most importantly, lifestyle and inspiration. I want a podcast where, you know, maybe once a month we come together and we're humans with each other, right? I feel like every day in life, I am constantly grinding or hustling, and I always look past the fact that, like, I don't want to take life for granted, and I want to take those little things, and I always want to have a growth mindset. So no matter where I am in life, I just want to always continue to grow. So anyways, long story short, I believe I told you who I am. I told you what this podcast is, where to find it, when to listen, and so on and so forth. So I believe this is where we are going to close. So automatically, if you even took the time out of your day to go to YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever you did to find this, right? I want to say thank you. That means somewhere in the back of your mind, you either support me enough, and no matter why, whether it's like I wanted to watch her because I'm nosy, or I want to watch her because I support her, I love her, this or that. Thank you. I appreciate it. It means so much to me. This has always been like a little bit of a dream of mine, so you're just allowing that dream to come true. So from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you. Thank you so very much. Secondly, I am going to do my first outro. I'm honestly kind of really nervous about this. It took a while for me to like come up. I was like, you gotta have a closing line. So in real estate, my brokerage is Real Broker LLC, and I'm not gonna make the joke about the fact that I'm real broke. Anyways, that was stupid. But I always leave it out with keep it real. And I'm not gonna lie, love Real Brokerage, but like even before that, like as long as I've been a teacher, I always mention like, hey, you gotta keep it real. You gotta keep it like, anyways. So with that being said, I wanted to have a really good outro on this podcast where I felt as if like, okay, we actually did something. We had a really good like outputting. So I am actually gonna read this. I know what you're thinking. Oh my goodness, it's her first one. She's using a script. I am that girl. I'm literally just a girl. Leave me alone. Anywho, so I'm gonna say it for the first time, kind of get it out there. Tell me if you like it. If you want me to change it, I probably won't because I'm really hard. I'm just kidding. All right. Until then, stay warm, stay curious, and don't forget to always look for those little wonders in your own life. Thank you for listening to Winter Wonders podcast, and I'll see you on the next one, guys. Okay. Psst, are you still there? If anything, I want this part to always, this would be so cool. I'm going to start doing this. So if you're you're still staying in tune. Thank you so much. You're getting, in other words, you go to the movies and then you sit in the movies afterwards because there's always that part that's going to come at the end. Or like, I don't know, it started in my young career of like Shrek. Do you remember at the very end? And then Donkey and all of them are doing that like, I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe. Anyways, that is what I want at the end of all of these podcasts. So for this one, I'm going to take the time. I'm going to take every bit of my seriousness, and I want to say a huge shout out because I'm going to mention a couple people, and without these people, I honestly wouldn't be here. The first one's really easy. I'm going to start blushing because she made me real happy inside. But Miss Sweetheart, Miss Love of My Life, Miss Kaylee, thank you so much. Every step of the way you have been so supportive, from a little dream that started about a year ago to taking my test in the summer to getting my license by the end of it, and every bit of the way to somehow I have started a podcast. Like, we're here, we're doing it, and I couldn't have done it without you. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for the constant support and everything from midday Zoomies to late night hugs that are very needed. You're the best. Secondly, shout out to my dad. He has always, I don't know, for whatever reason, probably longer than this, but at least 2 to 3 years, he's mentioned me having a podcast. So he is a big influencer, on top of the fact that he bought a lot of the instruments that allowed me to get started for this. So for that, I appreciate you, Dad. I love you lots. Get your butt up to Idaho. I miss you, and I want to wring your neck in a loving, compassionate way. And then lastly, my boss man, my partner in crime of real estate, Mr. Nick Jakuchan. Not only am I sitting in this awesome office because of you, but constant support, constant everything. I appreciate you, and I can't wait to see what 2025 brings for us. So officially, this is the end of I believe. We are going to be heading out. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you next week. Keep it real, guys.